Well, good morning and welcome to Zen Live on Saturday. Late this morning, I just, had no inspiration, so, I don't have to do this. But then, I said, well, just let me look at an Eckhart Tolle card, and doggone it if I didn't get inspired again. So, anyway, I just had to wait until I had breakfast, and so let's get on with it. And here's our Tolle quote for the day. If you are content with being nobody, in particular, content not to stand out, you align yourself with the power of the universe. What looks like weakness to the ego is in fact the only true strength. This spiritual truth is diametrically opposed to the values of our contemporary culture and the way it conditions people to behave. Okay. If you are content with being nobody in particular, content not to stand out, you align yourself with the power of the universe. Or if you want to use Star Wars terms, the Force, or the Tao, or in a religious context, the Holy Spirit, or the Word of God. You see, our fundamental problem in our materialistic flat society, flat world, where everything is exterior, everything is empirically or verified by our senses. If you can't taste it, feel it, touch it, hear it, or smell it, it doesn't exist. You see, so of course consciousness doesn't really exist. Intelligence, I think the fundamental assumption that the universe is not intelligent, it's just dumb, stupid matter, atoms bumping into each other like bumper cars, accidentally creating us. You see, that whole old Newtonian universe, which is the modern world, is waning, is dying. And some new consciousness is coming up. Well, this new consciousness changes the paradigm so that it fundamentally knows that the universe is alive in intelligence. So there is a universal intelligence. There is a universal wisdom. And see, the problem with our old Western Christian secular paradigm is that we cannot help believe that this intelligence is outside of the universe, either God or a concept, you see, or laws or something like that. But how can rocks be intelligence? You see, well, the intelligence or consciousness has value layers. The rock would be the least, the human would be the most, you see. So it's holons or it's holograms or it's holes nesting like Russian nesting dolls, you see. But the totality is intelligence. Just like if you look at an ant colony and you pick up a rock and the ants go, they're in complete disorder, blah, 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 blah. But then immediately this intelligence, the organism has its own intelligence. So there is no such thing as a standalone ant. An ant is a colony. The colony is an organism whose parts all know what to do intuitively. They don't have to, there's no physical transmission of information. They just the whole organism acts as one, you see. Like a basketball team when they're in the zone. It just acts as one. Nobody has to think about what to do or look at the coach. Should I throw this? You see. No. So anyway, so this what Tolle is saying here is that if you're content with being nobody in particular. Now, so looking at this paradigm is that life itself is an organism with intelligence, But if we believe in our particularity, in our specialness as a standalone individual, then I also believe that I have to choose my way out of a fix. I have to do something when I'm in a fix. In other words, if I don't do anything, I'm nobody. Don't just sit there, do something. You see. Don't do anything, do something. You've got to do something. You got to choose. You got to do something. You got to be somebody. So the idea of being nobody means the idea of not knowing what to do. I don't know what to do. Whoa. Somebody help me. Tell me what to do. You see, that intermediate zone, and we discover this. We fall into this when it's called the horns of a dilemma. And I laugh about this and use my trips to Walmart as a metaphor, because when I go to Walmart and the shopping list is a little ambiguous, I get into a oscillation of, well, I can't choose. Which one should I choose? I'm going to be wrong no matter what I do. So I call the wife, what should I do? Or get somebody to help, you see. So that kind of like oscillation of, going back to my favorite Gestalt picture, it's the oscillation of not being able to choose the old woman or the young woman. And if you choose the old woman, the young woman comes forward. If you choose the young woman, the old woman. So you oscillate back. Well, you can't settle on one or the other. You can't be the old woman or the young woman because they are mutually dependent. So you can't separate one without getting rid of the other one. You see, if I make any mark to change the old woman, I change the young woman. So that is that is an example of a situation in which we can't choose. It's called a Zen cone. If you say it's an old woman, you're wrong. If you say it's a young woman, you're wrong. Now, which is it? So we always, in these moments of the inability to choose, not knowing what to do, should I choose this guy or that guy, this girl or that girl? You see, puts us in a state of, like with the heart, a fibrillation. It stops beating regularly. It goes, somebody has to smack it. Or somebody's having a panic attack. Smack. Snap out of it. You see? So that kind of like, we can't, in other words, when we get into that, what Tolle's saying is that relax. You don't have to stand out and do something. Be content with not knowing what to do. Be content with not being able to choose. Okay, I don't know what to do. I'm okay. I don't have to know what to do. I don't have to know who's right. I don't have to be right. I don't have to be wrong. I don't know. Who are you? I don't know. When Bodhidharma came to China to bring the transmission of the Buddhism to China, which already had Buddhism, but it didn't have the authentic transmission. And the emperor said, "Who are you?" And he said, I think the emperor, who had been doing all these good works, creating Buddhist monasteries and all that, asked Bodhidharma if he would get any merit from that. And Bodhidharma said, "Nothing is holy, no merit." You don't get any merit from good works. What? Who are you? And Bodhidharma said, "I don't know," and walked off. So not knowing who I am is being okay with being a nobody. You're not standing out, not having to choose, not knowing what to do. So this is really, see, the problem is, you see, we think this is an end state. We think that if I'm caught in the horns of dilemma, I got to choose one or the other. I got to do something, even if it's wrong, it's better than not choosing. And if you choose when you're in that state, it's going to be wrong no matter what you do. That's what the horn of dilemma is. It's a lose-lose thing. If you choose one horn, the other one's going to get you. If you choose to get away from the other horn, the other one gets you. See? A bull, that's why a bull is like that. It has two horns. It's going to hook you this way or that way. So, the fear of not being able to choose, not knowing what to do, is the fear of loss of self, because we know who we are because we make choices. That's why we like to go shopping when we're in a situation where we feel powerless. In a situation where we don't know what to do, we're angry, we feel defeated, we feel helpless, we feel the victim. I want to go shopping because now I can choose stuff. I can choose things, and I know who I am. I'm a chooser. I can choose that lamp. Because we can get addicted to that. In fact, the whole consumer economy is built on that addiction. You are somebody because you can choose new stuff. That's when Tolle says, this spiritual truth is diametrically opposed to the values of our contemporary culture, consumer culture, and the way it conditions people to behave. So our culture conditions us to choose and presents choices. And the more choices, you see, we get bored with old choices. Well, I've already tried that. I saw that movie. Well, I already read that philosophy. I already listened to that teacher. What's new? You see, we want to have new choices. So choices just proliferate. Now, instead of having 4 basic cereals to choose from, you got a whole canyon full of cereals to choose from. And there's no end to it, because we believe choice is freedom. So you have more freedom if you have more choices. Do you? So what this is saying is that you are totally free when you have no choice. But see, that, again, that is looking at it as a dead end. No, this is a transitional stage. In order to get to the, all right, here's what I put up here: creative response or reaction. In order to get to the first responder is reaction. The first responder, whenever you come up again in a situation where you have any kind of a threat or a dilemma, or well, most everything is, unless you just relaxed at a swimming pool, you know. But if somebody comes up and gives you a bad look, well, ta-dum, first responder is reaction. What's wrong with that person, or what's wrong with me? Am I too fat? What's going on? You see, reaction. So the first responder is going to be reaction. But what Tolle is saying is hold, be content with being nobody. In particular. So if you are okay being nobody, you don't react. If you're content not standing out, you don't react. We react because we feel our somebodyness is threatened. You talking to me? So by choosing, we stand out. By choosing, by reacting, getting outraged. Aren't you outraged? By being outraged, angry, offended, that offends me. I'm the offended one, you see. I stand out when I'm somebody when I'm offended. So we all want to be somebody. And the only way to be somebody is to react. And that's a defensive reaction. And it always causes more division. You see, being somebody is division. When I'm somebody, I'm different from everybody else. I stand out. Look at me. Look at all my tattoos. Well, you've got 2 tattoos. I'm going to get 3 tattoos. Oh, he's got 3 tattoos. I'm going to get 4. Well, I'm going to pierce my nose. I'll stand out. Now everybody's got a pierced nose. All right, I'm going to pierce my lip. For a short while, oh, look at that, it really stands out. Then everybody gets their lip pierced. Oh, I'm going to pierce something else. Where does the piercing end? Where does the suffering end? You see, there is no way to permanently stand out. That's very observable in our culture. Somebody gets a new fashion quirk or clique or something, and for a moment they stand out, then everybody does it. Phew, you see. So that moves to somebody. So it's always pushing the envelope. But we stand out as a group. Nobody stands out alone, because to stand out alone would be to not care if you stand out or not. See, it's the caring to stand out and to be somebody that actually creates the obstacle to being somebody. Because the moment you stand out, well, particularly looking at fashion and all that, I mean, that's very obvious, that fashion and self-image in our culture is the constant moving of the edge to somebody who is but here's too, you can't go too. The secret is if you're in a zebra herd and you want to stand out and say I'm somebody, you got to get just a little bit away from the herd. But if you get too far away, a lion's going to get you, or people would say you're crazy. So it's very careful from being, oh wow, he's really somebody, I want to be like him, or that dude's crazy, I ain't going there, you see. So there's a fine line between madness and exile and being a fashion leader, one who moves the herd, you see, who follows you. That's interesting. But Tolle's not really talking about that. Well, we're not really talking about that, because we're looking at it in the subjective era. How do I become creative? How do I have a creative response instead of a defensive response? So, the defensive response has to be put on hold in order to get to the creative response. And then Tolle makes the statement. See how we kind of picked it? I love this. We just picked this apart. He says, if you align yourself, if you put your defensive reaction on hold, suspend it, you align yourself with the power of the universe. Now, the power of the universe is not a concept. It's not an idea. It's not something you read or believe. It's something you are. So when you have a creative response, first of all, it's going to be spontaneous. That's what creativity means. And it also means that it's not planned. Creativity is not looking at hand notes or talking points. It's not written out beforehand. So you don't know what the creative response is going to be. You won't know who you are. You get the idea? If I'm content to be nobody, if I'm content to not know who I am, that's what that means. If I'm content, see here again, you say not to be, if I'm content to be a nobody is something. And we're not talking about any something at all, you see. We're talking about not knowing who I am. Subjective. So if I don't know who I am, what does that mean? Well, I've got to be something. It's not like I can, if I don't know who I am, I just disappear. I'm still here. But who am I? You see? Because I'm not planned now. If I don't know who I am, or what I'm going to say next, or what I'm going to do. You see, if I don't know what I'm going to do, that means I don't know who I am as somebody who does something that I know that as a reaction. You see, when we react, we know what we're going to do because we've reacted like this before. He always pisses me off, you see. I know who I am because I'm programmed. I have a little program in my mind, the strategies, little plans, and then anything that activates that, the program just clicks in and I respond. I react to defend myself as being somebody. So whenever my somebody is threatened, you talking to me, you see, we go into a dual moding. We go into a fight mode or flee. But reaction, you see? So if that can be put on suspension, that is a booster rocket to being free from gravity. The creative response is free from the gravity of defense and protection and reaction. And I might add karma. So Buddha called karma the wheel of samsara, the wheel of Sara, the Groundhog Day of the movie, just the recycling of the same patterns of Sara. Each time we believe it's different. Each time we believe we'll get out of it, but we notice that we're still on the wheel of samsara. So how do we move from the wheel of samsara to the wheel of dharma, which is the wheel of creativity? Spontaneous creative action leads to unity because we're tapping into the power of the universe, and the universe always drives towards unity. The universe does not go to fragmentation, because that's blow up. The universe always moves towards greater unity. It does not move towards greater division, because that means that would be an atomic bomb. An atomic bomb is a great metaphor. It's either going to be nuclear energy to turn on the lights, or it's going to blow everything up. A nuclear bomb is a chain reaction that cannot be stopped. And so, the universe has two forces. One is towards greater unity, power, creative power, and there is the force for dissolution, tearing things apart, death, ashes to ashes, you see. So we can tap into those two forces. If we tap in here to defense, protection, karma, well, don't even add that, but just defense, protection against my self-image of being somebody, we are tapping into the dissolution force of the universe. But if we suspend that and say, wait, I'm okay, I don't have to know, I'll just be awake and aware, curious. I know that there is a movement here that I can tap into. Don't know when, don't know how, and it's okay. But it's through that window that the creative response spontaneously happens, and now you're tapping into the nuclear energy of unity, because creativity unifies. And you'll find yourself to be in harmony with the situation, instead of reacting to and being at war with the situation. And if you're at war with the situation, it's just going to recycle into tape loops. If you are in harmony with the situation because of your creative response, and again, you don't know what it's going to be because it's not planned, if you're in harmony with the situation, you're in harmony with the whole universe. And it moves forward, and there's a joyous reunion of everybody in the situation. It feels great to be in harmony. It's joyous. It's called love. And this is called hate. Self-loathing. So the irony is that if you love yourself as being separate and standalone, you're also self-loathing. Because your true self is in harmony with the whole and not against the whole. So standing alone, being apart, being somebody that is better, special than the rest is basically self-loathing. Because you're loathing the self that is nobody. You're loathing the self that is in union with the whole. You're loathing the self that is love and creativity. So anyway, thanks for dropping in, and I'll see you at Martini time this evening.